Welcome to S&G. If you've already subscribed, it's appreciated. If you haven't, consider it. We're jumping back on the 91 80 cubic inch Evolution engine. We had shown how to clean your tappet screen or lifter oil screen, and I want to jump in and show you a little bit about how to clean the other two screws that are they're stepped in levels. One of them is a pressure regulator, an oil pressure relief or regulator, and the other is a bowl check valve. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. We're not going to get into oil pumps and how the flow is, but I'll give you some advice. And this channel is all about trying to pass on knowledge to people that aren't certified Harley mechanics. They love their machines, they love to ride, they love to wrench, and want to work on their own bikes because they either have a sickness like I do, and I like vintage motorcycles and, you know, any kind of motorcycle, and I can't afford to have somebody wrench on all of my stuff or my buddy's stuff. So we work on our own things, and this channel is to try to pass some knowledge along to people that don't have that experience to dive in a little bit. So one of the things that I will tell you is a man needs to know when he's outside of his comfort zone. So when you're working with oil related things, your oil pump, you know, you're getting in and cleaning this stuff up, it's always good to refer to your manual, watch videos. There's a lot of great people out there that put out a lot of great videos that you can gain knowledge from. Relationships are everything. Relationships are like banking. You make deposits and you make withdrawals. And when you have some go-to people that you've created relationships with that you were able to call and say, hey, you know, I'm at a place I've never been. I need some support. I don't know what the hell's going on, or this doesn't seem like the manual. To have those people to be able to call and take a withdrawal and say thank you and call them back and get another withdrawal and another withdrawal. When you get your chance, make a deposit. If you don't have the knowledge to give those people, maybe you drop them a little cash. Maybe you bring them a bottle of bourbon. Maybe you take them out to, for a beer and a burger. But don't forget to deposit back. That's how you create long-term relationships. And there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you if you appreciate it. So build your relationships and take that for what it's worth. But manuals are also, this is the manual for this bike, 91, 92 Evolution. Electric Glide, Big V twins, and this page here shows how the oil travels, gives you a description of what happens. So this is a bunch of knowledge right here. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to get into some basic stuff on just how to clean things up, because I'm going through this, changing cam, breather valve, blah, blah, blah. And we've got videos that are going to go through this whole process. And I do my best to put them in order, and I do my best to categorize them in the playlist so it makes it easier for people to find. But some of the times I'm just have my head up my ass and can't get there. So you might have to dig a little bit. But we'll get into this. One of the things that can be a bear is removing these plugs. I'm going to reset this camera up so you can see what's going on here, and I'll be right back. All right, there you go. Get in there and just kick it out of the way once it's set up. Story of my life. So here's your 3 steps of these plugs. They're a straight screw type screwdriver. That's how you take them out. This is, you know, the highest one, medium, low down here, or, you know, high, medium, low. This one here is, this is your where your oil screen for your lifters or tappets are. There's a video on how to clean that. The second one down here is your actual relief valve, your pressure relief valve for your oil. And this one, the lowest one, is your ball check. And again, we're not going to get into all the function, but typically people torque the shit out of these, and they're very hard to get out. If you cannot get it out with a small stubby screwdriver and maybe a wrench, there's a couple things you can do. I have had to go to a point where I had to use, I don't know, a big screwdriver like this. I showed this on this one, 10 millimeter, it's a metric screwdriver. But you can get that in here, and then you can take your, you can see that, you can take your wrench and get it out that way. That's one way. I have even got to a point where I had to use an impact driver, and you do want to watch using an impact driver. This is aluminum. You don't want to get crazy on this stuff. Take your time. There is an O-ring in here. These torque to like 80 to 110 inch-pounds. So I've already broke them free, and one of the things that I'll show you that I use that works really well is if you do have one of these sets or something that has a larger, a bigger, flathead, I will take that, and I will take a, let me see here, see what size it is. I think it's a 5/16. Yeah, 5/16 socket, which happens to fit this, and I'll get a very short 1/4 inch extension. I will use a 1/4 inch ratchet, and that gives me what I need to jump on here. I have a little bit more torque with this, and I can actually hold it down to where it doesn't skip off. And when it skips off, you start marring up the thread, or the actual the actual slot, which makes it a little bit harder to get them tight and unloosen them. So these have already been unloosened. So I am going to remove this. We'll remove this here for your pressure valve. And what you want to do, I always, when I take the caps off, I look for gunk up inside here. I will remove my O-ring and make sure that my O-ring is good and doesn't have any, little pieces out of it, etc. Clean it all up, grease it a little bit, put a little oil on it, and put it back in. So once you have that out, you have a spring, and spring here will come out. And then, if you've got a little magnet, it kind of helps. You can kind of get that magnet, and some of the times you can get in there and get that pulled out. And some of the times you can't. So if you can't, second alternative is to put your spring in there and kind of put a little pressure up against the side and pull that thing out of there. Yeah, that's the way to do it. So it's been a rough day, and I was going to find an easier way, but I've done this so many times, and I'm just flustered right now. Take your magnet, stick it in there, watch you don't mess up your threads, right? Kind of take your time, pull it up, and there you pull it up. I was hoping I could do it in one shot, and I just didn't, and I thought, damn it. But you know what? Real world stuff, right? So there's that. So when you take that out, what I'll do is I will get a clean rag, don't mind the dirt on this rag. And I'll kind of inspect this thing, and I'll kind of look, and I want to see if I see any metal shavings or anything like that, and I don't. And I'll clean that up, and you can always spray it out with some brake cleaner, or you know, some alcohol, whatever you want to, whatever your preferred cleaning agent is. And when I'm done with that, I will typically you don't see anything, but I'll clean off my magnet. You want to make sure you don't put anything in there, so I'll clean my magnet off. And put that down in there, all the way to the bottom. Move it around just a little bit, and just see if I pull up anything. And if I don't pull up anything, great, that's a good thing. So that is what you'll do there. And when you're done and everything's cleaned, you can take your cleaned valve and drop it in. When you drop that valve in there, you want to drop that valve in with the flat side down, and the spring will drop in through that hole. I don't think I said that. Just so you know, if your spring's sticking out that far, you know that it's upside down. And you can take your spring and inspect your spring, make sure it's not bent, and you know, this is pretty stout spring, and drop it in. They do make rebuild kits if you feel like you need one. And then you can take your cleaned up cap, and you put a little oil around your O-ring, and that will go right back in. And then you can go ahead and move your 1/4-inch ratchet with your larger screwdriver and a torque wrench. I happen to set my torque wrench at 100 inch-pounds, and you can go right on there. Then I can hold this head down and take this. There you go. Hold that down, and there you go. And that's it. That's all it needs to be torqued down. So that's how you take care of that. Now, if you want to drop down to your ball check, again, I've already loosened it up. You come in here, undo your cap, and I've already been in here, I've already cleaned everything up, so that way I don't waste your time. Check in here for any metal shavings or anything. Check your O-ring, make sure it's good. Once everything's cleaned up, lubricate your O-ring. Set that off to the side. There's a spring in here. These springs here, you know, I might pull it just a little bit. I don't get crazy. You don't want to put any big pressure on it. If you think it's bent or it doesn't look good, buy a rebuild kit. But for me, I don't know, it makes me feel better just to do that. All right, so that's that. And, and check that, make sure everything's good at each end. And then you can take this handy dandy little magnet, and again, make sure that it's clean before it goes in. And you can drop that in there. Maybe we'll get lucky and pull the ball check out. I believe the diameter of that ball check is 3/8 of an inch. And I will then take a flashlight. We'll look down in here and look at the seat. If you see any mar or scars or scratches on this ball, replace it. You can also look in at your seat and make sure that there's not a piece of metal, shaving. It doesn't look to be messed up. And hey Zeus. Zeus, hey bud. There must be something exciting out there. Zeus just absolutely loves UPS drivers, Amazon drivers, any kind of a van or a vehicle with a sticker on the side. He's all into that. So once you have the ball out and you get it nice and clean, you want to look to see if you see anything. You can also do the old clean up the magnet. Very good. And you can do the push the magnet in the hole deal. Kind of bounce it around on the seat. Don't get too crazy on the seat. You don't want to do anything. There. And you can look and you can kind of see if you have anything, if you're pulling anything out. So if you're not, that's a wonderful thing. Then you want to look in with a flashlight, see if you can see the seat. And you can if you get up at the right angle. And everything looks pretty clean and good in there. So, with that being accomplished, we can now take this ball and we'll put this ball check back in the hole. Okay? And we will take the easiest way to kind of, this oil line makes it a little hard to get the cap in, so the best thing you could do is put your spring, for me anyhow, everyone has their own way they do it, put your spring inside that cap, and then you can thread your spring in and follow it back with your cap, or follow it up with your cap. And my head's probably right in the middle. And then you can take a screwdriver and get that in there. And some of the times these can be a real bear to get started. I'm trying to keep out of your way so you can see, but you get the point. There you go. Sometimes it takes me an hour to get that in there. Not really, but under the gun with the camera, yeah, you know, you'd like to have things go smooth, but they never do. Never do. And that's okay. Real world stuff, right? And then I'm going to take my my setup here and hold on to that. Get it in the center. Hold down. Okay. There you go. And there it is. Well, thanks for watching. Keep your prayers going for Dirty Dave. If you get a chance, punch that monkey in the throat. Slam that bug, smash that bell, whatever you're supposed to do. Enjoy your evening. Do not forget to make your deposits. That's an important philosophy, life, whatever you want to call it. Make them if you want to, don't if you don't. So anyhow, if you ride them, wrench them, but only if you want to. Everybody have a good evening. Peace.